All right, let's talk about fantasy football playoffs. Specifically, that beautiful, beautiful chaos when predictions go completely off the rails, teams just spectacularly collapse, and everything you thought you knew gets thrown out the window. We're going to dive into one wild week, all through the eyes of a league's resident expert, a guy named Chet Malot.
And here's our setting, the Big Chew Fantasy League. Now, if you've ever been in a fantasy league, you know the deal. It's where bragging rights are everything, and every single Sunday is a chance to either be a genius or get completely and utterly humiliated.
So our guide through this whole mess is Chet Malloy. And you got to understand, all season long, Chet had one vision. He wasn't just predicting it, he was proclaiming it from the mountaintops. He was certain the championship was going to be a showdown between two absolute powerhouses, the Jeremiah Bullfrogs and the Moore Ducks.
Yeah, about that. Turns out he wasn't just a little off. He was, in his own words, deeply, historically wrong. That prediction he was so loud and proud about, it didn't just miss, it absolutely imploded. And that's what we're here to talk about, the story of how it all went so wrong.
So let's start with Exhibit A in this case of the failed prophecy. Let's talk about the absolute carnage that was the semifinals.
Okay, so remember one of those guaranteed champions, the Jeremiah Bullfrogs? Well, they didn't just lose their semifinal game. Oh no. They decided that the most important week of the entire year was the perfect time to have their single worst game of the season. They didn't just stumble at the finish line, they full-on face-planted.
I mean, it was a total perfect storm of awfulness. You name it, it went wrong. They had key players on bye, they got hit with injuries at the worst possible time, a star player came back and basically did nothing, and yeah, some of those trades they made, they aged like milk left out in the hot sun. Just a total disaster.
And what do you get when you mix all that together? You get this number, 58.78. That's it. 58 points. It's a score so low, it's almost impressive in its own sad way. This wasn't just a loss, you guys. This was a public humiliation, right there for everyone to see on the league app.
And here's the kicker. Their opponent, a team called Ottawas, didn't even have a great week. They didn't need to. They just had to show up. I mean, 111 points is fine. But when the team you're playing completely forgets how to score points, you basically just trip and fall backwards into the championship game. Pure dumb luck.
Now, the other semifinal, a totally different story. We're going from a complete and utter blowout to an absolute nail-biter that went right down to the last play.
And you can just see the difference right here. On one hand, you've got the Bullfrogs barely scratching 60 points. On the other, our other predicted finalist, the Moore Ducks, puts up a massive 126, and they still lost. One game was a total car crash. The other was an absolute heavyweight fight.
And man, what a fight it was. The Ducks were staging this incredible comeback, but the Fighting Killbers, who, by the way, are a super polished, well-built team, they just managed to hang on. They won by just a little over 4 points. For the Ducks, that is a brutal, heartbreaking way to go out.
Like Chet said, this game was so tight. It could have come down to a single missed tackle, one dropped pass. You know the kind of loss I'm talking about, the one that keeps you up at night, just replaying everything in your head. A true fantasy football tragedy, for sure.
Okay, so Chet's big prophecy is in flames. It's just ashes. And what rose from those ashes is a championship picture that absolutely no one saw coming.
So, the championship game is fascinating. You've got the Fighting Killbers, this well-built machine of a team, against Ottawas, the guy who literally tripped and fell his way into the final. It is the ultimate matchup, skill versus pure dumb luck. And Chet's pick, he's got to go with the well-built machine. He thinks skill is going to win out over chaos this time.
So what happened to our two fallen heroes, the Bullfrogs and the Ducks? Well, they do get to play each other, just like Chet predicted. The only tiny little difference is, instead of playing for a championship, they're playing for third place, in what the league is calling the Bronze Bummer Bowl. How fitting.
And what are they playing for? A massive 6.25% of the prize pool. Wow, that's maybe enough to buy a large pizza and some breadsticks to share while they cry about what should have been. The glory, my friends, has faded. Fast.
But hey, the drama wasn't just happening with the top teams. Let's take a quick look at the losers brackets because things got pretty absurd down there too.
So real quick, in the game for 5th place, TD Lover is just absolutely steamrolling Meatloaf. But the real story, the one we need to talk about, is the Dumpster Derby. This is the game to avoid being the league loser. And as you can see, It's not even close. We're talking a 51-point beatdown.
Because here's the thing. In the one game that's literally designed to make fun of the loser, the team that's been the butt of every joke all season, Will's Balls, decided to rise from the ashes and have the game of their lives. It's an absolute miracle upset.
Yeah, their opponent, Pulling Johnsons, is currently down by 51.52 points. Just let that sink in for a second. Over 51 points in the game to decide last place. This isn't just a loss, people. This is a full-blown existential crisis.
This collapse is so epic, so deeply embarrassing, that Chet says the league is legitimately talking about whether they need to do a wellness check on the manager. Like, did he just give up halfway through the game? Did his phone spontaneously combust? We may never know the truth.
All right, so to wrap up this absolutely insane week of fantasy football, let's just go to Chet for his final rapid-fire assessment on the state of the league.
Let's see here. TD Lover, cruising. Meatloaf, melting. Will's Balls, reborn. And Pulling Johnsons, actively embarrassing themselves. I mean, you can't put it any better than that. Concise, brutal, and 100% accurate.
And all of this really just brings us to one final question. After a week like this, where the smartest plans went up in smoke, where a team just got lucky and stumbled into the championship, and the biggest beatdown happened in the toilet bowl, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In this wild, unpredictable world of fantasy football, how much does skill even matter when pure, beautiful chaos is always waiting right around the corner?